Now, we want to talk about medicinal cannabis right now with news yesterday that the federal government has approved medicinal marijuana sale. So, which is really, really good. It's a positive direction.
Yeah, move in the right direction, isn't it?
And wanted to find out what it actually means from Medicinal Cannabis Awareness Tasmania front person and front woman in Lynn Cleaver, who is on the line. Lynn, good morning to you. How are you?
Good morning, guys. How are you?
Very good. How do you see this news?
Oh, look, I think it's a really good interim measure. I'd still be concerned about the price. You know, potentially an imported medicine will be potentially a little bit expensive for some people, but, you know, if it means that process that people have been going through via the special access scheme, you know, sometimes that's taken, I think one person waited up to 15 months for medicine to come through that process, and that's an awfully long time for people to wait if they're terminal. So if it speeds up that process of people having access, it will be a brilliant move.
So does this now mean that it applies here in states like Tasmania, Victoria, everywhere, or do we still have to rely on the states to pass their own laws to be allowed us to access it from this federal government move?
I think so. I think from what I could understand from the media releases late last night was that it would be up to states to decide who would have access, what conditions and what ages. So I guess maybe Tasmania will still fall under the controlled access scheme, but still be able to get medicine from somebody in a supply within the country until we grow our own medicines here in Australia. So I guess now the ball's, you know, firmly in the court of Michael Ferguson to release detail on who will have access and what for.
And have you got any closer to Michael Ferguson since we were talking to you a few months ago and showing that film and everything? Have you had more of a dialogue with him recently?
Not with Mr. Ferguson personally. I've spoken with his advisor, who just keeps assuring me that, you know, the controlled access scheme is on the way, but he's not, you know, they're not willing to release any detail on that, which is a shame because people are coming to us and asking where they get the medicine from. You know, federally it's legal, where is the medicine? And while the government here in state won't release any details, those people are going to find medicine any way they can. So, and, you know, that's a concern.
Well, it is, because, again, as we've discussed previously, the parents and loved ones are under enough stress already without having to worry about looking over their shoulders and getting raided for doing something that, unfortunately, they're forced to do illegally when it's actually now legal, which is stupid. It's a stupid situation, isn't it?
Yeah. And Michael Ferguson's under the impression that nobody's been raided and nobody's facing charges, which is simply untrue.
Yeah, no, exactly, yeah. We actually reminded him of that the other day. But this controlled access scheme in Tasmania, so do you think that goes far enough?
It'll be good for a lot of people, but it's still, it will be extremely restricted from what I understand. People will have to access a specialist, which in Tasmania can be difficult, you know, even for neurology. A lot of the neurologists fly in, fly out, so it's not an easy process to access a specialist. But until they release the detail on it, we can't really comment because we don't know what they plan to do.
For the benefit of those people who are listening possibly for the first time about us talking about medicinal cannabis, generally, what is it used to treat?
Oh, almost everything. Almost everything. You know, we all have an endocannabinoid system in our bodies ready to receive cannabinoids. So, and then what cannabis does is it brings our bodies to a point of homeostasis so that we can fight these conditions and these diseases. It's another tool to use in you know, trying to be well.
It's particularly helpful though with epilepsy and things like that, isn't it?
Epilepsy, chronic pain is a huge area. You know, look, a lot of people that previously have had no relief from their chronic pain find that cannabis is an excellent measure to give them some relief. So, yeah, and people, you know, going through cancer treatments and, you know, it's great for nausea and appetite.
Yeah, I was about to say, and also like things like gastroparesis, it's shown to to help the effects of that, and also like migraine sufferers and things.
That's right.
It's very widespread for sure.
Yeah.
And the thing that worries me about the controlled access scheme here is if you have a doctor that's not prepared to change his view on it because of the stigma surrounding it, everyone thinks you're sitting around smoking J's and getting
Having
off.
a party.
But which is not the case.
No.
But if your doctor or specialist has got that mindset, it's going to be very hard to change, and you won't be able to access it except illegally, even though it's legal.
Legal, yeah. And that's one of the biggest problems, Australia is going to face immediately, is that our doctors aren't educated in either the endocannabinoid system or cannabis medicine. So that's going to be a huge hurdle. I think the government should be really quickly moving to educate our doctors, our specialists, our pharmacists, so that they can be on board. At the moment, they're not going to prescribe something they know nothing about. I certainly wouldn't if I was a doctor. So that education process needs to be started immediately.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, well, Lynn Cleaver from Medicinal Cannabis Awareness Tasmania, thank you so much for your time. We'll certainly
Good
keep
luck.
the pressure on the government and the health minister and try to find out more about this controlled access scheme and when things are going to be implemented to make it easier for people out there who need to access it and want to try it because they've tried everything else and toxic drugs and stuff that they're pumping into their bodies and other people's to give
And
them
getting ripped off by the
pharmaceutical companies. Yeah, it's a vicious circle, isn't it?
It is a bit.
Yeah, Lynn, thanks very
Thanks,
much
Lynn.
for your time.
No worries.